I won't say that it's a sad story, but I kind of feel that it's a sad story that I heard about health IT so late in the game. The good thing is that it's never too late to do what you want or to learn something new or to make a change, right?
Right.
Yeah, I love to journal. So I would say in your nursing experience, doesn't even have to be on your resume, just your journal. Just write down what are the things that stand out to you when you're on your clinical rotations? What makes you feel good inside? Is that directly caring for the patient? Is that the touching the patient? Is that seeing a problem and wanting to fix it? Is it being a part of the conversation with the charge nurse? What is it that you really like? Whether that's the leadership piece, the care coordination piece, the technology piece. If it's the technology piece, what part about it do you the more super technical talk or just, okay, this technology needs to do this better because as a nurse, I want this patient to be able to feel this better or get this done quicker, complete this quicker as a team. So definitely just write out and journal what are the things that sound out to you. And we have new experiences which change us, things change. And so I think that journaling over the periods of our experiences really gives us a feel for what we like, how we're growing, where our attention, we're being very self aware about who we are,
Right.
and we can piece that into where we need to go. Like I knew what I wanted and what I liked, but I didn't know where to put it, where to place it. And so far, nursing informatics, healthcare informatics, innovation is exciting to me.
Sure. I think the biggest thing is curiosity and pressing the question why. A lot of what we do that makes our reports more impactful is thinking about what does this mean? What is the impact going to be? How does this translate to something actionable for the client? Being communicative about where you're at in a project, talking to people, saying, what is your working style? What is the best way to communicate with you? It just helps everything go smoothly from a process standpoint. So making sure that even like if you're just starting a job, maybe be a little over communicative. It never hurts saying, oh, can I grab 30 minutes on your calendar to talk through these things? Or I'd much rather hop on the phone and ask a question and seeing, saying, oh, that's my communication strategy. Is that something you're receptive to? So yeah, I think communication is definitely another big one. I think my biggest piece of advice is to just be a sponge. So if this is something that you're interested in, but don't necessarily have a lot of knowledge about just yet, but want to pursue it, doing LinkedIn learnings, going to events, talking to people, listening to videos like this, asking, alumni from your network, and just learning as much as you can from the opportunities around you. There's so many opportunities to learn more. I think it don't feel like you have to go in blind. The resources are there. You just have to push yourself to try it.
Perfect. What I've seen, people who go into this role usually start off with some type of analyst role. So it could
Oh,
be a business analyst, a data analyst, something like that. And then they usually move on to other roles that are like data engineering or database administrator, or some of them even started off as software engineers. All these type of roles, and ultimately from one of those other ones, they usually the next role up is a architect role. Could be a software architect role, a data architect role, something like that. But really the starting point is something that allows you to work very intimately with the data itself. Those individuals, great to start, and then you can move up to a data architect role. I think coding is really important, especially knowing like databases, how data is organized. So the most classic is like SQL. Yeah, I don't want to give the cliche thing, but that's the first thing that comes out. And I think the finding a mentor, I think you can get lost in the weeds quite a bit. And so I always default to this. If you find a mentor in this space, especially, they can help you very fast figure out, is this what you want to do? Is this the right path? What are the steps to get to certain places? So mentorship is always like my number one thing. Reach out to people. There's a lot of people in pharmacy informatics now. Very easy to reach out to them via LinkedIn. And number one advice, talk to someone.
Yeah, definitely. I was just talking to my girlfriend the other day, and she asked me, we play one of those little card games where you ask questions. And one of the questions was something like, what do you like about yourself? And I explained how one thing about me is that despite it all, every day I'm going to put one foot in front of the other, whether I got knocked down the day before, whether I got knocked down that day. I'm going to continue to be a force in my life because no one else is going to do it for me. So I encourage anyone that may feel like they hit a wall and or they feel like they don't know what's next is just take one step every day. You know how I told you guys I'm working on my website and all these things. Just every day I contribute a little bit. Just keep going every single day and never give up on your dreams. I know it's so cliche, but you can't do that because I'm telling you, no one's going to do it for you. Okay. Unfortunately, unless you marry rich, but maybe you should be the rich spouse. I don't know. So just always keep your desires at the forefront of your life because this is your life. There's so many times in life where there's so many things going on. You have to put other people's needs before our own, but you are the controller of your life and go at that with a passion. Go at that with the drive where you know that this is life or death in a sense where if I don't achieve what I want to achieve, whether that is a tangible goal or an internal goal, just keep going for that. And I promise you, like, you will make some progress if you keep going day by day.
So I actually did not have a background in like health IT. I went to school for kinesiology, which is just another fancy word for exercise science. And that's what I studied at school. I wanted to become a physical therapist. So that's why I did kinesiology. And the interesting part about it was that I graduated right when COVID started. And so it was difficult because I was doing an internship at a physical therapy office. And then out of nowhere, I had to be I had to leave my internship pretty much because I was working with the elder population and I can give them COVID working at the radiology department. Since the radiology department, I felt like it was like fate. I was like, okay, maybe physical therapy isn't for me because I wasn't really enjoying it. When I was working there as a tech helping the physical therapist, I noticed it was very repetitive. It was slow. And I felt like you could only help patients one by one. And I felt I had something in me that I would want to help more people with what I do. And that's where technology came in. That's how the start of this happened, where it was like COVID happened and it switched my path. So number one would be curiosity. So curiosity in terms of, like I mentioned, like breaking things or fixing things. There's going to be a lot of times where there's going to be an issue and you're not going to exactly know where it is. And you just have to dig around, even maybe for hours, to figure out where that record is misplaced or someone did it wrong. And is being able to create relationships with other epic analysts at your organization. The more experience you get, the more you're going to have to be working with other applications. I currently work for the cardiology and radiology, the Cupid and Rate. If I want to do bigger things, create bigger projects, I'm going to have to work with Access. I'm going to have to work with professional billing, hospital billing, all these other applications. And if you don't have a relationship with them, the project will stall. It won't move forward, right? So being able to make friends in where you work and definitely will help you be a better analyst and also put your name out there in terms of like, this person gets things done at a healthcare organization. And then the higher ups would love people like that can get things moving. There's a lot of, especially in healthcare, there's a lot of blockers. They have to get approved by this council. And so that'll be the number 3 trait an epic analyst should have in the
Just start. Don't be picky, because I think of one of the best roles I ever had, I had to be talked into because it was like one of the first ones I had out of college. I was working for a physician hospital organization and it was an executive assistant job that came open. And I thought, I don't necessarily want to do that. I helped with accounting, contracts, all the departments. I was in every physician meeting. I was in every executive meeting. So I learned finance. Like I learned so much about how all of it fit together. So all to say, find organizations or parts of the industry you like, whether it's technology, it's the healthcare, it's state, local government need people desperately, and just get your foot in the door and start learning and just be extra. Networking, learning, introduce yourself, be unique. It's okay. Own who you are, own what you do, and just get out there and talk to people. I know it sounds so simple, but and share. That's the part I didn't add. So not only are you learning, share, give. So that's what makes me recognizable to people, because I'll be like, hey, I know this person needs this. This will be helpful for them. When I didn't, nothing in it for me. I just know it makes the world better if we can share information for our gifts.
So my first advice is don't give up. Okay. Quitters never win and winners never quit. So that's rule number one. Don't give up. When I started, I ran into the same problem, but it was a different moment in time. But I still think some of the same tools can work. I think it's important to get a mentor or someone who you can work under and learn from. So for me, I learned all these cool concepts in school, but there are certain things that you're only going to learn once you're on the job. So if you're able to graduate and get into the field and get a job right away, great. If you're not, don't be afraid to volunteer once a week. Find an area or a practice or even a billing company where you can sign up to volunteer once a week just so you can get exposed to it. But also don't be afraid to start a field that's adjacent to where you ultimately want to be. Because sometimes you may not get hired at the hospital to be a medical biller, but you may get hired in the hospital to work in their authorization department or a different department. Once you get in, you're in, right? Do a
Right.
great job, make connections, and then after you're there for a while, you can pivot into something else. So I think the biggest misconception is people graduate and they just want a job out the gate doing what they went to school for. But from an employer standpoint, they want to make sure, do you understand the job? If I
Yes.
put you in front of a computer, are you going to know how to get these claims paid? And those type of things you're only going to learn from experience. So don't be afraid to volunteer, or don't be afraid to start somewhere where it may not be your ideal space, but you can parlay that into your ultimate job role. So someone who's interested in entering this field and not sure where to start, I would say start somewhere. Do your research. If this is a field that you think that you want to enter, do some research on medical billing, do some research on medical coding, understand what the field is and make sure that it's something that you truly want to do. And then if it is something that you truly want to do, make sure that any organization you decide to go through to get your education, that it's one that's recognized by employers, because chances are what those employers are asking for is the schools or the organizations that you should go through to begin your educational search. I will also say you have to help yourself succeed. I had so many doors slammed in my face when I started in this field that I remember going home crying after interviews. I remember thinking I would never get hired. I remember wanting to give up and go get a job in the supermarket because like I had a baby on the way and I need to make sure that I can. And I didn't give up. I believed in myself. And eventually I did get a door open and I took that opportunity and ran with it. I also knew when it was time to move on. Right? I wasn't a habitual job quitter. Like I stated, my resume, I'm stable. Okay. So she is stable. But I also, when I had to positions that weren't necessarily my ideal role, I took the position, learned everything I needed to learn. I stayed there to show stability, and then I moved on. Don't get stuck. Too many people end up going into positions and they get comfortable and they get stuck. Keep growing, keep evolving, set yourself up for success. And the most important thing is don't be afraid of technology. Technology is going to keep advancing. Get in there, get your feet wet, because that's going to make you an asset in this space. When you understand how to leverage technology in what we do that makes you an automatic asset. So always think of ways where you can be growing, where you can be learning, where you can be an asset. But you have to believe in yourself. No one is going to give that to you. You have to give that to yourself. Don't quit. Don't quit.
I love it.
That would be my advice.